What's up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. I am currently not on this set. I'm out of town for Christmas, so guess what? You're going to join me in my new location.
Okay, what's up, Flick fans? Welcome back to the channel. I'm in a random person's basement. Please help me. Actually, I want to say shout out to the in-laws for letting me use their workspace, but today we're talking The Witcher Blood Origin on Christmas, so happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Every story has a beginning, and in this series you witness the untold history of the continent with The Witcher Blood Origin, and this is a prequel series set in the elven world 1200 years before the events of The Witcher. Blood Origin will tell a story lost to time, exploring creation of the first prototype Witcher and the events that lead to the pivotal conjunction of the spheres, which is basically when the worlds of monsters, men, and elves are merging to become one. And this is a limited series with only 4 episodes, so you don't have too much to watch. It's also rated TV mature for blood, gore, violence, all of the things that you expect in The Witcher. But there are some things about this show that I want to talk about. I won't spend too long on the review. Now, at the beginning of this series, when we finally enter the time period that we're in, you have that classic fantasy structure where our fellowship, they're coming together, you're learning about each individual character. Eventually, I think the most interesting character, obviously played by Michelle Yeoh, comes along. But it's really all about this trio, this band of misfits that come together and they're trying to save the day from a cataclysmic event that will ruin the peace of a land. I like the performances here, especially Sophia Brown. I thought there were some moments with her character that kept me intrigued and engaged, and what brings them together in the beginning is interesting enough, and there are some interesting elements all throughout the first episode. Blood Origin has a lot of setup. You have some narration telling us how everything is coming together in the beginning and set 1200 years before The Witcher that we know, but it's also a show I believe a newcomer to the series could watch. I'm not saying you're going to want to watch it after this review, but you're not going to be completely lost because they do tell you, especially in that first episode, a lot of what this world is all about, even though we're taking place at a time before a lot of those things even existed. The idea of giving both fans and non-fans alike more about this world when it comes to the elves, the dwarfs, the humans, the monsters, and the origins of this very first Witcher prototype. Just the concept of that sounds incredible. So you're kind of getting the build-up behind that, not necessarily how it ties into the greater world, but how it sets the stage for what is to come. And even though there is a definitive start and end to this series, once I got through it, again, only 4 episodes, not too bad, there were certain story points, certain plot threads, one romance in particular that did feel incomplete, as well as moments talking visually that just didn't look maybe as good as they needed to. But I also watched screeners that were possibly unfinished. So I'm not going to carry that criticism through. I'm going to wait and watch certain moments again when it actually drops on Netflix. But I did expect it to feel like a bigger production, right? Because you have such a small amount of time to tell a story that seems so grand. It also seems so important because, again, we're talking the blood origins of the world that we know. Not necessarily the characters, and not even the heritage of those characters, but setting the stage for what is to come. That's so important for fans who are just wanting more Witcher content. And after all the madness with Henry Cavill and bringing in Liam Hemsworth, and it's just a lot of changes are happening to this show, and they need something to tide fans over. Is Blood Origin the show to do that? I'm not entirely sure. I couldn't get as invested in this series as I wanted to. And even though there are certain characters and characteristics that are really cool in here, and you have some nice fight scenes, I thought the choreography was great. Obviously, someone like a Michelle Yeoh is going to crush those moments, and she does. But I wanted more of her character. Her character was used very sparingly. And instead of meeting all of these characters at the beginning, we see them at different points in the series, and because of that, their time together on screen is way more limited than I expected. Again, I wanted somewhat of that fellowship feeling, not Fellowship of the Ring, but just a camaraderie between these individuals. But I couldn't get a lot of chemistry out of that because there's just not a lot of time between certain characters and certain moments. You have our main trio and really our main duo, and they spend a lot of time with each other. But I also expected maybe a bit more out of their characters. Honestly, it's one of those shows, it's like you love everything about the style, and you're wanting to get so invested in the story, and you're wanting to follow along this journey because you love the world, and I love the world. I think, especially Season 1 of The Witcher is fantastic, so I was just waiting to feel the way I felt while watching that, or even anything close. And while again, I like some of the performances here, and I really enjoy that the style of it all matches the other series, but also goes in its own direction, which is distinct, and that's cool. The story, it's just been done before, and it's been done better. And the camaraderie, they love each other, there's a romance sparking, or they hate each other. I just wasn't necessarily feeling some of the dialogue or conversations, and I guess that makes my main issue for the show the script, because the script needs to be good for a massive origin story, telling a tale about a group of people who are going up against this great evil, but you're also getting all of these very meticulous origin stories in the process, and it wasn't necessarily there like it needed to be, and I felt a lack of emotion with The Witcher Blood Origin, which is not something I expected to say, especially after first hearing what this series is. Again, I've never been one to be truly invested into this material, but I loved Season 1, I enjoyed Season 2, I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming next. I'm a bit bummed out, obviously, but after watching this series, I'm like, I just don't know. I even loved the anime movie, but this didn't do it for me. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but I do like being honest, so I appreciate you guys for being here. If you enjoyed this review, it's not my normal setting, come back for better reviews in the future. Be sure to drop that like down below, and today's phrase of the day is, come back, Henry. I'm sure Liam will do fine, but man, I'm gonna miss Henry Cavill. The series is underwhelming because of the potential of it all. The action sequences and choreography stand out, but the script and relationships fall a bit flat. I'm going a 45% with my score. Again, it's short enough to where you can watch it and find enjoyment in moments and scenes and action sequences, but in terms of actually caring as much as you may want to, fans or non-fans, I just don't know if you are, but that's just my take. Come back to hear more reviews. I'm hoping to review the new Matilda movie and then my top movies of the year coming soon.